Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you all so much for joining. It is Tuesday, and I'm joined with my wonderful guest, Michelle Wolfe. How are you doing today, Michelle? And I remember to unmute you, so perfect.
Yes, we're good.
We are good.
Awesome. I am doing fabulous today. Very zen. Yes, I'm feeling wonderful. Definitely, but did wake up with a headache. Ooh, there's a lot of pressure at night. Pressure at night coming and going. So feeling the pushes and pulls like a rubber band, and definitely getting some pressure in the head and some headaches, but feeling very clear, very powerful, very good. Mm-hmm.
You are not alone, that's for sure, because I've been feeling it. I've been having to take some naps and stuff because it's just so wild. I see my camera's like, makes me look like I need a V8.
Well, I just listened to one of Aluna's videos this morning, and she made a really good point about this that I did want to mention. So it's good you brought that up. And she said that if you are feeling wiped out, you know, that wiped out, exhausted feeling, we can typically it can make us feel depressing, like, you know, we're taking a step back.
Yeah.
But she wants to remind everybody that we really are taking a step forward with that. And that when you're experiencing that fatigue, this is work getting done. So not to look at it from the perspective that it's taking you back, that this is actually moving you forward. So just to remind you of that, I thought that was a really good point to bring up, because when we're feeling really tired like that, it can be discouraging. But remember, it is encouraging, though difficult at sometimes. It means that we're making progress. And work's getting done.
Yeah, definitely. You know, something that I've realized is that some of my people in real life that are close to me, or were more close to me in times past, I've been dreaming about them, and it's like old times. And I was just watching Michelle Walling's newest video, and she was talking about how we can sort of get pulled out, our consciousness pulled away, and like our body's sort of left to be controlled by the matrix or something. And it really opened up this line of thinking that made a lot of sense. I want to get her back on to talk about it, because it made a lot of sense that even we might get pulled away and we're sort of left here on autopilot, or we might find ourselves just vegging out on movies or shows like our old self for a while, and that's what we remember because our brain retains those memories, but maybe perhaps that higher consciousness of ourself left for a little bit to get some upgrades. And just like it happens at night while we're sleeping, we've discussed before. But it's made me wonder if when I have those dreams, and it's like old times, if I am with the part of the consciousness of those individuals that used to be here, but now maybe they got pulled away to get upgraded, or things happen. And maybe she was saying how some people come back and some don't, maybe. So not to really worry about if the shell of the person seems like they're on autopilot or sort of robotic in a way, because that could just be an indicator that the consciousness is somewhere else getting its upgrades or getting caught up, you know, because we typically think they're asleep, they're even more asleep. What's happening? Maybe they're getting caught up or something. So I thought it was a kind of a positive way of looking at it, because sometimes you can just feel like these people are never going to wake up. What's going on here, you know? But there's more going on than what we see, I think, you know?
Well, I think right now, in particular, it's interesting that you brought up those people from the past. I think that what we're playing out right now is past life healing. So these people that have come up and resurface, and that's, I think, maybe even why you might be experiencing sort of a bit of that empty shell feeling as well. But you're playing, you've been playing out different roles with these different people through many lifetimes. So I think we are actually going through, because I've experienced the same thing, and learned through the healing sessions that I just had, that was actually just going through some old patterns, healing some old patterns from those different past life relationships, where you know, kind of stuck in that back and forth of exchange. So that we really are, as we've rinsed ourselves now, it's like going back into all the clearing out everything. It just wants to purge out everything. So it's just going deeper and deeper and deeper, and it is bringing up and healing those past lives now. So I think that we're starting to open the boxes, like Christmas presents that we've been receiving, those knowing boxes that we've been getting
I
that
like
we
that.
couldn't really translate. And do you remember, you know, I said it was like, you know, waiting. And I'm getting the feeling that now with the changes, like it's time we can actually start unwrapping these presents. So, but and so a lot of those things that have come in, we're really opening up to that, and that a lot of what's happening is dream work, just healing up those old relationships, just sealing off those old things, and getting rid of those past karmic exchanges or binds. And that certainly is what I have been working on with Angie there for the last few days since Thursday last week. So I have a feeling that may be what you're doing too.
Oh, that's nice. And we'll definitely get more into that. Let's talk about the Schumann for a second.
How about
Because
that, Schumann?
how about that Schumann? That's been really crazy. I
Yeah.
actually saved the shot of it last night because I knew, because we've had a few of these like whiteout zones where it's like whatever the energy coming in was just too much for the sensors, and it almost just completely, uh, yeah, what's the word for it? Just pegged it. You know, if it was a needle, it would have been pegged.
Well, it's off the charts. We can't even measure. The chart doesn't go as much as we can measure. So who even knows
Right.
how far this is going right now?
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
some of these, we're not even seeing the extent of where they're actually hitting. So if we're going above 40 hertz, I think it is. Well, we're going above 40. How far above are we going? But I think it's certainly showing the acceleration right now of everything. And those pulses are falling in line with this built up energy that the earth is exhibiting, and then seems to, like a balloon, seems to be dispelling out behind us.
Yeah. Here's
Mhm.
another one. That one there was a screenshot I took very early this morning. So now we can see that the part that is right here is actually um, ran off. Whoops. Just ran off. And now we see it over here. And now we've had these jolts of energy. And now this is what you were just talking about. I'll play this little video here because this is actually a video. This is a side view, and this is like a top-down view. But you can see these waves coming. These, as you see on the scale here, when it gets into the yellow and the green, like look at these strong forces behind here. Now, why is
Such
it behind there?
opposing, such opposing, and that's the amazing thing is like the median. But that's really what we're experiencing. And again, you know, it just seems to be represented on so many levels. This stretching of those polarities to the point of like snap almost, I think, you know.
Yeah,
And it's doing that with us, and you know, pushing that separation from 3D to 5D, and it's doing that with the earth, it's doing that with everything. And I think that that's really what we're seeing.
yeah. Now the sun would
Mhm.
be to the left, so it's strange that you've got all this energy on the opposite side. It's actually
There's
behind the
at
earth.
times more pressure on
Yeah,
the behind side than there is on the front.
yeah,
So that leads to the idea, and again, you know, some may feel strongly about this too, leads to the idea that there is a large object. It is, but there's quite possible there's something there, that energy is. You can see it like a water balloon, bloop, bloop,
yeah.
and yeah,
Just
and
if anybody else wants to get here, real quick, I'll tell you, you can just go to Mr. MBB's site. You can check the Schumann resonance right here. This is MrMBB333.com. Most I talk about him all the time, so hopefully you guys know who he is. You can actually search that same name on YouTube. If I don't have the link below, I usually have it down below. But yeah, if you come here, you can check out the Schumann. And how do we get to? We click the geomagnetic K index, correct?
Yeah, and that's a good one to even bring up right now.
Oh
Scott
yeah,
sent me
I'll
that
bring
one
that up
this
now.
morning
Yeah, Scott
because,
Lightwarrior,
yeah,
correct,
we'll
brought.
be feeling that within the next couple days, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now when he sent this to me, we were in the red, so now it looks like you can see it's a pulsing. You know what I mean? So it's like we'll be, and it feels like that to a lot of us. We'll
There's an
feel like,
exchange. There's an
yeah,
exchange going on. That pulsing is an energy exchange,
yeah,
and an energy exchange beyond what is normal. It's not just with the sun. There's an energy exchange going on with something other than the sun or the typical planets that we're aware of in the system. There is
totally.
another exchange. What it is, I don't know, but it's something big.
Yeah, it's something there, isn't
Powerful.
it? Oh, and just real quick for the people who might want to, if you click that K index one, she had me click products and data, and
Products and
then
data.
over on the right,
Mhm.
geospace magnetosphere movies will bring up that
Is
movie we were just playing right here.
and play around under products and tools. There's a bunch of stuff. Just play around with it. If you like those things, you may find other things as well. I found that particular movie to be a good example because you're seeing the magnetosphere, pressure, velocity, and density on those three, and it's very current. It's like up to within like 20 minutes, really, and it's consistently updated. So it's constantly updating every 2 minutes, and you're going back about 5 hours, and it's on UTC time. So
I
it's
love
it's
that.
very you can really if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, my head and where, and you take a look at that,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's going to tell you what has been going on in your sleep, and see how you feel about that.
A lot of
But you
times
can
you'll
also
notice you're in
Mhm.
this white zone. You'll look and you're like, man, why do I have this head pressure? You'll pull it up and you'll see that you're in the middle of one of these white zones. Like I don't have
Yeah.
the head pressure right now, and it looks pretty
Yes,
calm. But
that's right.
earlier I did, and it was probably right in the middle of this.
Woo, I'm getting it right now. So yeah, and that's I think but do you notice how the frequency is picking up? This
Oh,
pressure came and go.
I just
It,
refreshed it, and I can tell it's getting stronger again. I just did
yeah.
that to see because you said you feel it picking up. So
Well, we're going to
we'll check
charge
it
things
again
up
towards
right
the
now.
end.
Right? This
Definitely.
this old fam is super powerful.
I look down. There's
Uh,
111 people watching.
yes, exactly.
Oh,
So
there's
right
11
now,
thumbs up and one thumb down. So I've got six
it's
11,
always
six
that one
one.
person. It's that same person. I swear they make just the specific effort to come.
That's cool though. They're helping it out here. I appreciate
But
that.
somehow I have the feeling, even though they put the thumb down, they still hang out and watch, cursing the whole time.
Go figure.
Yeah,
For the
to
people
you I
that's
say, na 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 na.
But for the for the people that's out there and they're like, I just love giving a thumb out. I love spreading the love. There's got to be
Yeah,
that other side of the coin that they're
the
like, you
push and
know what? I
pull.
just love spreading a little hate.
Hate.
Just put a little
Yeah,
thumb down there. You
that's
know?
okay because I can take it, baby.
Yeah, really.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
I know what I'm here for now. I know what I'm here for. And I found my name too with this process. So I just sent you a link with Wikipedia on there. I
Oh,
meant to do it before, but I don't know if you got it. But
oh, let's see here.
again, and the synchronicities I found in this were pretty cool. So through this healing process, I came up with,
Artemis.
yeah, Artemis came up again. It came up in my first hypnosis session.
Wow, it came up again, huh? That's interesting.
And yes, it did very clearly. But I was told still two names. So that Artemis was sort of the aspect that is oversoul that was or that was sent here to do here, this job here, and that what was sent in to break the game and decimate the abomination,
Goddess of the Hunt.
goddess of the hunt. But look at what she see if you see this goddess of the hunt, forest, hills, the moon, and what archery. What
Mm.
is my dog's name?
Archer.
Right? There's a bunch of little things through here. And this I just looked up this morning. I'm surprised I didn't look it up last night, but I'm like, okay, let's actually put this in here. I was given a name of a much higher oversoul, but guided to keep that to myself. So, but this is the me that is here to be a warrior at this time. It's to decimate the illusion through imagination.
That's funny you said that because it reminds me of this thing Eileen sent me one from one channel. She sent me it was like this extraterrestrial interview, and I'm going to get more into that because I thought it tied in nicely with the information that we've been looking into with the Wingmakers material and all that. But you know, in that, the lady found out that she was a nurse and she'd been like a nurse in almost every life, you know, and it was like she just felt
Mm-hmm.
drawn to being a nurse. And I was thinking of how many nurses are like, you know what, I think I want to be a nurse, and they have no idea that
Mm-hmm.
they're doing the same thing they've done in previous lives and stuff. And
Well,
that
that's it.
goes
Yeah.
right along with what you're doing right here because I see this statue with the
Well,
dog or
the
whatever that is.
dogs. So see, to think that dogs and horses by far they're both hunting animals, and the wolves. Like I was always had, when I was young in the dreams, when there became a point where I think there was some protection going on from the negative sort of vampiric energy that would want to come into a child's dream and frighten them and take that energy. When that would come in, I actually would typically have a full pack of wolves come in around me and take me to safety. So it makes a lot of sense to me. And the wolf connection is very strong. The dog, and the horse connection is very strong. But when I saw the archer too, I was just really struck. The other thing is the midwifery, and the protective nature of young girls
Hmm.
that I have. So there's a lot of other things in here that really make a lot of sense. I know.
So let's get into that. What exactly is this? You said it was SRT, spiritual.
Yes. Well, so I went over. So spiritual response therapy. So I made a couple notes so I wanted to make sure that I was giving an explanation. And she's going to be on Friday on my channel, Angie Dollar, and she is a spiritual response therapist. She's, I think we're going to be on Friday about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what we're shooting for.
Cool.
So she is a hypnotist, which is interesting. That is the hypnosis led her to this work. The work established was through Robert E. Detzler,
Hmm.
and I got the spelling because I knew you would ask me. So that is Robert E. Detzler, spelled Detzler. I think he's written about 5 books, she said. She's been practicing this for 4 years. And really what it is about taking the 80, we come in here carrying about 80% of this junk from past lives, bringing into this life. It's like this junk. And that's what I'm talking about. Yes, it is. That's what I'm talking about. What we're clearing right now is this junk from past lives. It's no longer required. So we're just quickly going through this and clearing that out. So it really, the way she looks at it too is it's removing this, like she sees these dark layers, a lot like the hypnosis too. These dark gluey layers of darkness that get stuck on us from these past lives. And it's really about removing that. And she's, going through releasing all these contracts.
Is it kind of like karma, or
all kinds of things.
it's just
Yes.
different names for the same stuff people try to talk about?
All kinds of different attachments that have been put on us from a variety of entities or extraterrestrial, all kinds of things. She really runs through the whole gamut. And this is what I like. So with the BQHT, you go through 2 or 3 past lives. This is a great way to start. And we activate and we heal. But what I really enjoyed about this process was the level of detail. It really goes into some fine tuning and rapidly going through a variety of lives very quickly. So we actually done 3-4 sessions together. So we've done quite a bit of work, and really were able to complete a lot last night. And it was one of the most unique experiences I've had yet. And I know a unique experience for her too. So it wasn't the typical experience that she would have with somebody that she was healing, in that we're both very involved in the process. So so I encourage you to take a look at it, because what I liked, it's really healing on a multitude of levels. I found it was addressing the physical problems, like you talked, the shoulder and this and that. So we're really looking at, where are these different, what did they, what caused it? What happened in those different lives? And we over the last few days and these few sessions have gone through all of these, so many things, a variety of things, brutality or viciousness, or all these different things that ways I may have been killed that have left me scarred. So we started off first dealing with very familial, like family direct connections and healing those. And with each session, we kind of really took a larger step back into it. I found in perspective, in clearing more and more and more in perspective, to even clearing experiences that were not even just with on this earth, but even experiences, because I have had so many through my dreams, off earth, in space and different things. So there was, we went through every kind of disembodied attachments, maybe ET or spiritual attachments, all of these things. So very therapeutic process that I have received a lot of pain relief from. So, we really started with what was the worst, which is my right hand and arm. And we went through, first I had my hand burned very seriously. And actually with somebody who was my little sister at the time, Trisha, she's probably out there today. So we shared an exchange with that, which we were able to heal together this morning. That got brought up as well. So it was looking at, there was a life where I got hit with an axe right here. And this is a problem there. Going through, I was drawn, of course, to the problem with my joints. Well, there was a few different stories there. The way I was able to go through it with her, though, was very interesting. And what happened was the sessions with Michael Garber for Beyond Quantum Healing, what he did in those sessions with me was implant trigger words. And I mentioned this before. He implanted trigger words that would help me go deeper, almost like an exponential. Every time I heard him say these words, then I would go deeper and deeper. Now, in my mind, I can recall now really pulling in the energy, his tone, his vibration of saying that in my mind. So what I was doing, and especially last night, I approached it a little bit different than the previous sessions with her. And as she started to do her process, I went into my own. And I went into that deep hypnosis state. And she did record it. And again, it was going to the subconscious because my voice changed. A lot of things changed. My experience changed. And I was able to very quick, it was like we were working in tandem, very quickly shifting and yes, this was this, yes, this happened. And then I could see the picture clearly and heal it, boom, move on. And we have a unique exchange, a visual perception in the way that we see things that I think was a very strong connection for us. So what she was seeing, I could then pull in. And there's a lot of similarity. It really was like the state of hypnosis. But I was able to guide it myself, not need to be guided. And that was an interesting experience. And I found myself very deep scanning and going through and finding all these experiences and pulling them out. So many stories that it's a knowing, it's a direct, like I know the whole story all at once. I know the whole story. How can you know that much information so quickly to know, to be able to just tell a whole story?
You know what I think it is? I think it's remembering. It's like,
Yes.
when you think of it, it's like oh my gosh, and the whole memory comes back to mind. And I think that's what, the more I'm finding out is that we're like on this path of remembering, not really learning. It's like
That's it.
re-remembering things that we've probably had to remember over lifetime and lifetime. And it's like each lifetime maybe we remember a little bit more. And I think for a
Mhm.
lot of us, we're getting to this point where we're getting flooded, with the energies being so high now and things being so different than they
Mhm.
were in a life where you would have gotten hit with an axe. Nothing like that happens now too much. I mean, sure, crazy stuff like that, but that's clearly, gladiator
Mhm.
times or something probably when that
Well,
happened. Yeah.
unfortunately, many of us have been witches or shamans in previous lives, and we have experienced a tremendous amount of torture scenarios due to that. Through many scenarios I went through, from the Middle Ages to before that, um, and yeah, through to the American. Um, say when they went about burning witches and everything that they did then
Oh,
too. So
Salem or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, so we've got a very long history of persecution and being tortured and persecuted at the same time. What I found very good about being in a hypnosis state is it allows you to go through those processes and pictures and release them with a detachment that you're still identifying, but you're not necessarily having to feel the trauma of it again. You can recognize the trauma, see why and understand, see the whole picture of the story, and then choose to release it and be healed, call in the extra guide. So this was a repeated process, just going through so many different scenarios, back and forth, up and down, all these different injuries, all these different wounds, all these different lives. One of the first ones we did when I realized our connection was really good, we started with, the hands or wrist problem, which is of course had been my, one of my primary concerns over the last few weeks. We talked about last week, and in that, so right away, the first life that we tapped into was me being like my hands bound and being dragged. And as soon as she saw it, it was like going right into that picture. And I saw the dirt, right? And then I could see the rope. I could see the rope leading to a cart. And the picture develops just like the experience of being in that hypnosis session and processing a past life. And it was very a similar experience. And the unique thing about it is that we were both affirming these pictures at the same time, and that was a really unique thing. So we were able, I think, to together process so much more. And then, of course, what happened was the insane amount of lives that we had shared together, and healing those as well for her. So it was wonderful that we were both provided healing through that process in exchange. So it's amazing stories, amazing.
So we're finding that a lot of us have spent lives together over and over again, and we just sort of, by
Yes. Do you want to hear
coincidence,
our magic number?
yeah, let's hear it.
My brother from so many mothers, from so many mothers, predominantly a brother. You're predominantly different, definitely a brother. But we work together in circles. She did bring up a very strong repetitive Native American for you.
uh,
Repetitively, that was a predominant thing for you. The fact that you're holding the grid in the area where you are now, the area where you are, you have had a predominance of Native American lives.
oh, yeah, Oklahoma
Um,
is heavy
yes,
native. Yeah.
yes. And that's why you're there. You're holding that grid. And then with this, another level, you're holding this grid within us, right?
Wow.
And then I think your higher self above that, and I believe as well, is holding another grid.
You're
So
giving me
you
chills.
yeah, so you've got three layers of grids that I see going on with that too. There's the physical earth grid, there's our soul family grid that you've allowed us to all plug into and really, built that and extended that out to us. And then there's that stuff that you are doing in your dreams and
It's
such, right? On a
amazing, and you
higher
can
level.
you can see how it's connecting each one into the next. So like this grid that we're all connecting in here is sort of tapping into that native grid because they would be
Mhm.
connected vertically as well as horizontally, if that makes sense. The way I'm kind of picturing it in my
Yes.
head.
And remember that what is going on without you in that grid is also going on within you. at this time.
That's trippy.
Yeah, yes. So that as that grid solidifies and your understanding and recognition and intention solidifies with your knowing of that grid, now you're really pulling that into the cellular level. So I would think that with that recognition, with that set intention, with that knowing, with that remembrance that you're going to increasingly get now, it's going to accelerate the cellular grid development as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me about our previous lives, or what we've, our relationships that you've
Mostly
known about.
like a lot of like a lot of brothers, a lot like yeah, like what I always like climbing around, climbing trees, but we did work together in a variety of circles as well, like in a variety of whether it be shaman circles or
Missions or
uh,
something.
we yes in we would work I think holding grids in different areas, doing different work together. There I think there was seeing like a separation from, how a lot of my experiences, I was sort of I would go in, but a lot of times I kind of was just up there or off to the side. And
Right.
I think we've done that sort of in a circle with Eileen. Eileen came in too. I really picked that up. I
That
picked
doesn't
up a
surprise me
connection
at all.
between Eileen and Angie as well. So I'd like to connect them together.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I could feel a resonance to a connection between them. So and I haven't even spoken to Eileen like personally, like
Right.
even like this, like we've communicated, but not directly. But I did feel a very strong connection there that I'd be curious for them to explore.
Same
So
way
I
with
wanted to
Debbie
mention that.
Solaris. You need to probably get a hold of her because,
Mm-hmm.
the second I saw her, I don't know, you saw her when she was
Mm-hmm.
on, right? The
Yeah,
Galactic
Alexis
Historic.
too.
Oh, yeah,
Alexis is one I have to connect with now, and
definitely.
this is part of the Artemis aspect as well. So there's something going on with that. So I'm like, she's listening. You got to message me, girl, because it's time. So yeah.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever think things would get this weird? I mean, this is pretty weird. I never thought I'd publicly in an open forum like this talk about such ridiculous sounding things. I mean, for anybody that might have stumbled into this video right now, because I realize it has 9/11 in the title and it says update, and how many people might have been like, oh, a 9/11 update on 9/11. What's this about? And then they stumble in here and they're like, what the heck are they
What the
talking
hell
about?
are they talking about? Oh, you will know. Oh, you
Yeah.
will. If you don't
You
know
found your
now, you
family.
will.
It wasn't an accident.
It wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
It makes up. But you know what? 2 years ago, some of the things that I can understand that, because some of the things that I heard years ago sounded pretty loopy to me then, but are
Yeah.
completely normal to me now.
Yeah. Like
Um,
Magenta Pixie is one that I got a hold
mhm.
of her a little too early, but now I totally get it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but you come back to it though.
yeah, you come
I,
back.
I think there's, even if you go, what?
The seeds got planted.
The record still comes, and then as it's like I just saw the record player, right? Boom,
Right.
and the record, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
But as you get in, and as you get in,
Exactly. Spiraling
it
inward.
plays, and as the cycle gets in closer and closer, you realize what it is. But
The one thing
yeah, we're gonna sound
that's
crazy, but that's okay. I'm okay with that now.
the funny thing is, there was a saying that if you're one step ahead, you're a genius. If you're two steps ahead, you're a lunatic, or something along those lines.
Exactly, exactly. So yes, I'm quite happily insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I think what is really wonderful for me now is not just the experience of understanding all these things that may have seemed crazy before. What is really wonderful for me now is actually having cleared all this energy. Um, and what is left is extraordinary. And the clarity of understanding truth within myself now is very strong.
Well, let me ask
And
you this:
mhm.
the session itself. Can you? I know you're probably going to get into a little bit more of this on your own show on Friday when you have Angie on, but
I want you to have her on too, because
yeah.
you guys got to meet, because you shared even more lives with her than I did. So
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
so I think you guys definitely need to have a conversation as well. And I think you should have her on too. But I'm going to have her on, and then I think it would be great if you did
So
the
like
same,
how,
Lindsay.
like
Hmm.
just the process itself, just for those, because I'm like wondering, like, do you guys just pray together, or do you meditate together, or does she have some kind of ritual thing she does, or
She
what?
uses a pendulum and she uses a process, and this process was established by this Robert E. Detzler. So it is a studied practice and a process that is quite involved. I haven't like there's 5 books he's written, and one of the books she even explained is it's not all just science, process. There he does tie it back to biblical equations as well.
Oh
So
wow.
there's a lot of connections to be made with this, and she is certainly the one to speak about this far more than I am, because I think my experience with her um, was somewhat unique in the fact that we both sort of visualize and see things within the inner eye in the same way. So a connection was made, and an exchange was made that I think would be a little bit different than maybe the typical experience. So I'm cautious to. That's why I want her to as well explain her perspective, because she certainly has a lot more detailed knowledge about his work and his process and uh, what it's all about.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
right.
I was just you
Hmm.
did a good enough job. I was just kind of wanting, just I just had no idea if it was.
Yeah. So she uses a pendulum, and the main principle of the idea is that your body subconsciously will physically tell you the truth to answers. That's a really So all
Yeah, it
what she's
definitely
really doing
works.
is
Yeah.
she's pulling it very similarly the way I see pictures, and she's pulling that in. So I understand that process, but all she's doing at this point really is affirming. It was very similar to me with the tarot cards. I related what she was doing with her work, much like what I do with the tarot cards, in that it just gives me a format. It just gives me a layout to be able to have a starting point and receive confirmations, and really a guideline that the other person can relate to, that they can kind of follow maybe along with you. So, but in essence, especially over the course of this last year, um, the fact that it's just a confirmation more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
being a tool, and the work being done more within the self and within the self. So, it's just a really automatic response, physical response system to subconscious confirming what she already knows, right?
Yeah.
And helping clarify that. And it's quite detailed and very, very interesting. So I'm looking forward to getting into that with her more. And I think it's a great topic to go over, because it's quite extensive. It's not just swinging a pen. Like she does numbers. She has a whole thing going on. So,
Well, for those
mhm.
who tuned in last week and they know you were dealing with some health issues,
Mhm.
what are the revelations around that? Because you said when you were on a couple of days ago that you had something to share on the show as it relates
Well,
to the health.
that was the one was our 379 lives. And it
Oh,
was, yes, for you and I.
oh
Um,
wow.
and the healing, definitely, I really wanted to share how, yeah, that it was such a detailed process. I wanted to share the unique connection that I found. And even when I said that, it's funny that connection just got more unique through the process up until last night. It
Okay, so
was
you
it
had
was
several
something else.
sessions with her then, besides last night.
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
We've had a few. So, because she wanted to make sure, she really put it all out, in there, and she really spent the time with. She wanted me clear for this. She, we did everything to be, to get everything clear, receive that confirmation, bring it all in. I said, no more illusions,
Right.
no more veils,
Is this
right?
something you did online or in person?
Just like you and I. Yes, just like
Oh,
the
okay.
beyond quantum,
Right.
just like
Okay.
beyond quantum, and just like I do with the tarot cards as well. This
Yeah.
amazing experience of being able to share that with people all over the world. So I'm actually really looking forward to be able to. I need somebody. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the cards now with this new clarity too. It's going to be
That's a
interesting.
beautiful thing with the way we have technology like this now, because if you think about it, we've always been connected in the way we're connected, but we didn't have that, the actual conscious mind knowing and talking and seeing faces and hearing voices to realize we're connected. But now that we have that and we're all coming together and realizing that we're all of like mind and here
Hmm.
for a purpose, we can consciously put our intention more into doing what we came here to do, and we just couldn't do that. Just
With confidence.
yeah, I
With
mean, even with
confidence.
phones, you couldn't
Mhm.
just sort of dial numbers randomly and
Mhm.
get people on the other line. What are the chances of that? But people can stumble across the video, like anybody that just stumbled in today, and it seemed like it was an accident. But the more they hang around, they're like, wait a minute, I think I'm supposed to be here. And then they hear more and more, and they realize, wait, that was seemed like a coincidence, but it
Some of it
wasn't.
made me crazy, but some things made you go, "What?"
Right.
It could be a little bell, it could be a goosebumps, it could be,
Yeah, a little
and that's
trigger.
the interesting thing of this process, But as you've experienced and I've experienced over these last few months, those little triggers, well, then yeah, like they layer and layer and layer till it's such a responsive, immersive thing,
Yeah,
right? Those little goosebumps turn into something more and something more, and the more you pay attention. So
definitely.
it's really open game.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, I'm ready to do some hunting. I've got some white rabbits to hunt. Hmm.
Well, that's really cool. So I wanted to take a step back. I wanted to ask you about when you mentioned the transformation BQH session you had, and he gave you some trigger words. Those words went beyond the session, you're saying, or
Yes, I've been able to
okay,
take that and and with that and just really recalling, like his energy, his voice, the resonance of his voice, the pace that he says the words. And it was, and I was been using it almost like just a steady mantra that just exponentially brings me in lower and deeper and deeper and deeper to literally, like I sat here with, normally my back would not be able to do this at all. My back is, that's a big difference. My lower back, my tailbone area, the sacral area, there's a lot of healing done in that first and second chakra. My back was really straightened out, but it was pretty interesting because when I went into the process last night, and I was really deep for a good hour, and I sat like this for an hour, back straight, which is I normally would never be able to do, and I'm able to keep that, hold that. I still had one remaining pinch in the mid back, but even that's disintegrating now. So basically got to the point where I'm still going to feel ascension. I'm still going to feel ascension, but the old debris of injuries is what's being removed, and to make
nice.
sure that what I'm experiencing now is just the push and pull of these energies and the pressures of this extension of the yeah. It's like the rubber bands. We're like rubber bands right now. It's not so fun being stretched out all the time,
No,
but
it's not. But it's no pain, no gain, right?
that's right. And that is, again, like it brings me back to Luna. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Because those moments, sometimes those difficult ones, and Zoe's here to affirm, those difficult ones are the ones that we get the most work done.
Just wanted to photo bomb or video bomb.
Yeah.
It's
Her
okay.
name is Zoe.
I
She's
think Zoe. I think Zoe feels all the love everyone sends when.
Oh,
Like,
she's got to always come in and say hi, doesn't she?
yeah.
Yeah. And she tries to pretend she's shy. Look at this.
I know you're not shy. I hear you outside.
I know. You heard her. I heard her the other day. I thought a train was going by. It was just her with a low rumble in her voice. Like somebody, because she's the protector. Nurse Zoe.
Yeah.
Zoe. But she's my, that's what I realized too, the connection, the Artemis connection. She's my wolf. He really is. So, and Archer's my little arrow. Archer's my arrow, and she is my bow. Right? Yes. Hmm.
Animals are awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful to get that affirmation. Yeah,
Oh, I can tell Zoe's wanting to lay down and take a nap on your lap.
probably. Yeah, probably. She's like, if Archer can do it, why can't I?
Right.
Yeah, come on in. I know. He knows when the energy gets good too. She comes in, right? She comes in for the good stuff. Right? I want more. So how have you been feeling these last few days over the
Uh,
weekend? And
Gosh, I've been feeling really energetic, and it's funny because I'll feel energetic in the middle of the night. I'm like, I really need to go to sleep, so I don't sleep or wake up in the afternoon, and then it's like I end up looking and it'd be like 5, and then it's like
oh my
then at
gosh, I
noon I
know.
wake up and it's like I feel like the weight of the world is so heavy on me, and it's like my sleeping's
Yeah.
so backwards right now. I don't want to go to sleep when I should,
Yeah.
and I don't want to wake up when I should. So it's like
Isn't
I'm
it funny? I think I'm gonna have the I'm so tired. I'm gonna have the best sleep.
yeah
I can't get to sleep. I've got
yeah
so much energy. The tossing. I think a lot of us have been going through tossing and turning, and so, but and waking up not so great, but then sticking to what I know I need to do when I'm feeling like that, and following through the process is getting easier and easier and easier. So, and I know these healing sessions have really helped me now
No, you
to
know
do
what?
that.
You just said that and you made me realize my headache is. I'm starting to get a slight headache. Let me see if it's increasing at all. No, at least, it's delayed a little bit, so it might
Yeah,
be one of these pulses coming in here. But
yeah.
because
Usually about.
there are these ones that only last a few minutes, these lines. They're really strong, but they're like
Hmm.
just a pulse or a flash of energy.
Well,
That's
definitely
all.
be getting this like popping feeling sometimes,
Yeah.
like a
Ringing in the ears,
pop.
hot
Yeah,
ears.
and then it sort of pops, and then all of a sudden you feel lighter. You feel more
Yeah.
buoyant. I don't know if anybody else. I know Scott and Aaron have been experiencing that. So when we talked about it, but yeah, it's interesting feeling. Definitely kind of a new one. Sort of kind of the pressure builds, and then all of a sudden there's pop as it just, boop, and
Yeah.
then there's a buoyancy and a lightness and expansiveness to the energy. So, and it kind of releases. Maybe that's part of that. I'm just getting like that earth, like we were talking about with that building of that balloon, and then it just goes boop and lets the energy go. So, relieves
That's
the pressure.
That's really nice. Yeah, actually,
Mhm.
tomorrow I'm going to have on a BQH guest that actually two sisters
Mhm.
that are going to offer a free session to someone. So I wanted to remind everyone to tune in
Wonderful.
tomorrow. So if you're too broke to afford one, tune in
Yeah.
tomorrow. And, if it's your time, you can get one of these BQH hypnotic hypnosis healing sessions,
Yeah.
beyond
And
quantum healing.
don't worry about, I don't know if I can be, I don't know if I can. Just set it all aside and just let the practitioner do the work for you.
Yeah,
Because,
just,
yeah, because you'd be surprised.
yeah, tune in and hear about it at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. And it's a calm, slow process. It's not something that like, boom, it's a process where I think you recognize, Shane, as you go through it, just you go deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's not this instantaneous thing like people see with stage hypnosis. Boom,
Right.
you're asleep and now you're walking around like a chicken. Like that at all. It really isn't. And it's a very calm and gentle transition and process that just allows you to go deeper and deeper through it as you go. And yeah, the experience of the energies and the healing and the activation is is amazing and more worth it than the stories, I find.
Yeah, I was pulling up the website so people can see. It's Kindred Being. It's going to be Jamie and Lila, and that's going to be tomorrow at. Ooh, the time is wrong. It should be 1. I need to fix that. I just added it to it. So people can tune into that. And of course, you can come to the website, uotf.net, to see the upcoming shows, the live streams anyway.
Hmm.
So I'm excited about this one on Friday. Of course, we have the Friday night love stream, but what time in the day? Is it going to be
That's why I
afternoon,
made sure three
evening, or?
o'clock. Yeah, we're gonna do in the afternoon because and yeah, because we discussed that. Because your stream on Friday nights is great. So I thought good time to do in the our time that we do it. We try to hit the European area a little bit too, doing it at the
Definitely.
time. So I'm going to do
Where's
that.
Angie at? Is she in the States or
Texas.
Texas? Okay, so she's a
Yeah,
one state over.
yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, but she does work online like this. So really, it doesn't at this point doesn't really matter where you are. That's the fantastic thing. You can
but
reach
she's
out.
in Indian territory too, though. Heavy
Yes.
Indian territory. We're connected on the Indian grid, man.
Yes, yes, that's what she was saying. That's what she was saying. Very much so. Yeah. Hmm.
Very neat.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna have my sister. Oh, we had a blast chatting the other night. Overprotected is going to be on with me for a dream share on
Ah,
Thursday.
Sherry, nice.
Sherry's going to be on for a dream share. So I'm really looking forward to that. We had a very unique experience as well. It's funny that um, amazing connections I've made that all have a story to tell, and all have a unique story. So Sherry and I have actually both been to some similar place, same place, really. Look at this in dreams. So yeah, so it was some really great affirmations for both of us to share, and yeah, really exciting. So I'm looking forward to that dream share. I love her energy. We definitely have a good laugh together, and boy, we were having fun on Saturday. I have to
Oh
tell you,
yeah.
the Saturday's show, what a great discussion. What a unique experience even to have such an intellectual, in-depth, philosophical discussion that was just getting more and more expansive. I think a sign that we're opening those presents, right?
Right.
In knowing, but also to have so much giddy fun. That's giddy. I was laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard.
Cheeks start hurting and stuff. That's a good
Oh,
sign.
it was great, and it was contagious, and definitely helped me keep that contagious, happy energy for my show on Sunday too, which I'll be doing every Sunday. So my Lighten Up Live with Justice, with DJ Jazzy Justice. If anybody was watching my show, they'll know what Justice is. Well, Justice.
That's your oldest
Justice
daughter?
is the new. Yeah, and that's my oldest. So yeah, that we live together. So it was great. So if you join in next Sunday, bring your funny questions. I was really enjoying that. It was like ask us, silly questions and see what came up. We were having a bunch of fun. So
It's like
still have
producer
to learn
Jess
how
in the
to.
background.
Yeah, she's there. She's there bopping around my peanut gallery. Except I could not. So I went to look for peanuts in the. They did not have any peanuts in the shell. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll buy chocolate covered almonds.
Can't go
Then
wrong with chocolate, right?
yeah, till I realized when I ate one how heavy they were. I'm like, I don't really know if I want her throwing these. But yeah, so it was a great blast. So she'll be back on Sundays to be the peanut gallery, and we were having a hoot. Very silly. So no serious topics on that day, just really, really light. I'm like, let's just say it all now. Anything within this 2 hours does not have anything to do with anything else, right? This is merely just being silly fun and just, giddy fun. Remind us to be kids and alleviate some of that pressure, right? Of all the seriousness. So I'll be
I
doing that
definitely agree.
every Sunday, I think, from 8 till 10 EST. Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I got 100. This is how stuff works out. I've got 115 people watching, and then the messages are 11.5 a minute. So I see 115, 115 across my screen. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, there's just so many everywhere you look. It's just like,
It's yes, I know. I've been doing that. I'm like just the numbers. I'm like, I can just get number confirmations so quickly now. That's the interesting thing is we can get confirmations in so many ways to the questions that we ask.
totally.
And you're just looking for the number synchronicities, and you know what they are, and it just gets easier. It gets easier and easier. It really is interesting. So
Well, more and more, I have thoughts that I'll be in thought about something, and then I'll see a synchronicity, and I was like, wait, what was I just thinking about? And I'm like, all right, it's a confirmation on what I was just thinking there. So those signposts.
yeah, and it's funny because you'll when you get those confirmations now, you'll often get like a couple of different ones, with it. Like it's not even just the one thing.
Like it's
Really
yes,
reiterates.
yes.
Yeah,
Right.
so it just reiterates over and over. Oh no, it's not just that. Oh no,
Right.
no. Yeah, we'll give you. But no, there's this too, and there's this too, and
Yeah.
and seeing that web of connections and confirmations, and all you need to do is you'll look at the clock, but then you'll have a conversation, or you'll pick up a book, or you'll go to a channel, or you'll whatever it is that you're doing, and you just find it's confirmation, and it just keeps leading you down that yellow brick road, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So do you find like your sessions, not only physically but just emotionally, mentally, have been helpful with Angie as far as sort of giving you this broader picture? Because you seem to have a broader perspective now, not so focused.
Sure. The first session I had that dealt with some family, wow. There was just like, in the Beyond Quantum, when they ask, do you recognize this person from your life now? And I had that experience, and for one of my daughters, and just burst out crying because as soon as she asked the question, I knew the answer, and I just started bawling. I started bawling. But after that first session, there was it was more detached. Those close family things were healed, and then there was a much more strength to it, and an understanding and a detachment that we're able to quickly go through things. But there was the response there. It was, yeah, to that experience, and that healing process, very deep healing connection process. So that is renewed hope for my relationships. Yeah.
Very
Mm-hmm.
nice. Now, I don't know if you even know the answer to this, but at least get your perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we carry over pain from previous lives? Is that like damage to our ethereal body or one of our other bodies, and
So many
that
things. I think
memories?
because we got stuck in here. We got stuck because it's one of the things that got us stuck, like glue. I don't think that we were supposed to be stuck in this process for so long with this game. And I don't know if it was somehow used to stick to us and hold us here as well, too, stuck
Yeah.
in that process. Just one other thing that kept us playing this over and over. That's why I say, you know what? When I go out next time, and start to travel or the light or whatever it is, I'm asking for credentials. I'm not going to be so quick to just, yeah. Because I think that we may have been recycled through a process that deceptively kept us stuck in this and weighed us down. You can think of all these lives that we're getting to 80% of these things, bringing us here. Like, no
Yeah.
wonder it's really, talk about the odds being stacked against you, really.
But I don't know. I wonder if we did this to ourselves.
Yeah.
Think
Well,
about this for instance. I
there was
mean,
self punishment for sure. In a lot
well,
of these things sticking on, there was self punishment. Yes.
I mean beyond that or above that even though like we were think about if you know everything, you experience everything, you can create everything, and at some point you're going to be like, you know what? I think I'm going to create something where I forget everything I know and see if I can get out of it. I'm just bored as hell.
That.
Let's see what
Yeah.
happens, and I'm going to make it
Yeah.
almost impossible to get out because you know what? I have forever, and if it
Yeah.
takes me almost forever,
Yeah.
determine forever.
What I got at the end there, which was kind of funny, was it was kind of that idea. Um, but in that I was put into the system partly to do that, but partly really to do this, really for the decimation. But that there was some deception as well. It reminds me of the Q Trump exchange in putting me in there, and them thinking that I'm something else, and then them thinking that they have tricked me, which I did get tricked, but in the being tricked was always the intention in the first place, and that really ultimately led to them being tricked.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And it was a kind of very interesting thing. So yes, I knew I was coming here to get stuck, and that was part of the process and part of everything else. But there was definitely an aspect where they thought that they were tricking me as well into being here. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the trick's really on them.
Yeah, I think the example I heard was like, if you're playing hide and go seek, it wouldn't be too fun if you could just automatically know where everyone is, right? So it's like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
forget the power I have. I'm gonna forget where you're at. Go hide. Let's have a fun game and stuff. And I know how serious it is, and I know people look around and they're like, how could this possibly be a game? But when you think of yourself as an infinite, eternal sovereign being that has all power, wouldn't you at some point get bored with creating these sort of, I don't know, Mario Brothers scenarios where you rescue the princess and it's kind of easy to do? You know you're playing a game, and at some point you're just like, you know what? I think it'd be funner to forget the power I have, forget that I'm playing a
Mhm.
game, and see if I can
Yeah.
exit it. I mean, I don't know.
But think,
It's just,
and that's where I would say to us all, think of the power then of us, that strength of the sovereignty in, they sent in the best warriors. They
yeah.
sent in the strongest
And
at
we
this time.
created the strongest villains to fight against.
Hmm.
I mean, how do we know we haven't done this
How
to
this, and
ourselves?
this is where, it's like,
The perspective of how you look at it. You know what I mean? At that
it
very
really
top
is. It's the
perspective.
Taurus. It's everything. It's the
Yeah, yeah,
infinity symbol. It's and it's an understanding that we are one too. We are all things. We've experienced all these things, and there's a sense of completion to that and that understanding,
yeah,
and releasing the judgment too, and that of all of those things that you are and have been
yeah.
and have experienced, and that leads to the oneness and compassion and true understanding of what we all are. So,
I
but I'm
just
still
have.
going to decimate the abomination.
Oh, yeah. That's our job, man. It's like, I mean, from this role we're playing in,
Oh, yeah.
that we have our role to complete to get out of this matrix game, however you want to view it. I think it's,
Hmm.
once you remove the fear from it, then it becomes a game. So I prefer to think of it as a game, because I realize that, if I die, I respawn it like a game. Like, it's not like it will be a final thing if I die or something. It's just,
That's it. Yes. Yes.
and
You're just leveling up
exactly, I'm leveling up, trying to complete.
because
If I
when
have to
it's
respawn,
perfect
no
timing,
big.
you're done. When you do that, I think at this point now, with where we are now, if that's the direction it goes, well, that's it's been predetermined. There's nothing to fear in that. So,
Have you done
you know,
anything really crazy like skydive or go down one of those scary water slides at a water park or anything along those lines where you were like, you sort of were, you wanted to do it, it sounded fun, and then like midway through it, you were like, oh my God, why did I do this? And then you make it through okay and everything. And then at the bottom, you're like, oh my God, I got to do it again. How do we know that this is not going to
see,
happen?
that's the thing is I was never athletic. So for
Yeah,
me, that was not a physical thing.
right,
Pushing those boundaries was not so much a physical thing. It was an imagination thing. So if you ask where I pushed those boundaries, I would be saying that it was more in my dreams and in my imagination as opposed to the physical things that I did.
right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, I love the outdoors. I love the nature. I love all those things. But no, I'm not afraid of heights, but I don't have an urge to jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Right.
So,
But I mean, we can push ourselves in other ways too.
but
Even if
that's
it's
it.
taking a
Yeah.
vacation, like, oh gosh, that's scary to get on the road and drive across the country and go to. I mean, whatever I mean, we're all in different places. Some people have to jump out of the airplane to get that sort of jolt that they're trying to get to their system, while other people can just take a trip to the next state and it's like, oh, I'm doing something so dangerous, driving on the
Right.
dangerous highways.
Yeah. Yeah. It was releasing doubt. It
Yeah,
was releasing. So yeah, if anything, that's more pushing that, right?
yeah,
For me. But we all have those different ways of pushing boundaries for sure. And that's
yeah.
what we're here to do. That's part of the stretch and pull is pushing those boundaries. I was small. I was little. I couldn't, I had fallen arches. I can't, so I loved camping. I did it like my parents raised me on it, old school camping for
Yeah,
sure. So
that's a
being
good one,
out in
camping.
nature, but I didn't need to push my physical boundaries in nature by no means.
Right. But I mean, you can do that with your artwork. You just try to do a
That's
piece
where I
that you've never
push.
done before.
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? I've never tried a space scene or something, and that can be just
Yeah.
as adventurous as doing something physical. So
Yeah.
it is
What
just
I
pushing those
what I
boundaries.
see is pushing when I push those boundaries in dreams. That's what I see when you ask me that question. I see where
Ah,
I
nice.
pushed my boundaries in dreams busy. So those same things like you would equate to jumping out or skydiving, those are things that I pushed in my astro lucid dream time. Hmm.
Isn't that about consciousness expansion too? Just to push
Hmm.
ourselves in any way we can, whether it's looking into a religion you thought was evil, and that might suck you in to looking into some kind of theory about something, or
There you go.
you know what
That's
I
where I
mean?
push
It's
boundaries. Push
yeah,
boundaries to look at things that's coming out now. Push boundaries to look at things that most people will turn away from.
right,
But that's part of what I'm to do too now. So um,
awesome,
because I can do it, because
yeah.
I can do it, and other people need to. It's time for other people to know that they can do it too. So it's time to stop turning away from things and face things head on. So,
Uh,
and when we do that, we're gonna see some massive, massive changes. Yeah, Zoe fur all over me.
I love that. And I think that's a
So,
good note to end on. I want to remind everybody that your links are down below if people
yeah,
want to subscribe to your channel and check out the upcoming
yeah,
shows. I'm
yeah,
looking forward to seeing Sherry and Overprotect It as her
yeah.
YouTube name that you will recognize her from, and as well as Angie. Does
Angie?
she have a YouTube name or does she have a channel or anything? Or
Don't know that she has a channel.
okay,
No,
well
she doesn't have a channel. But
they can connect
I'll
up
make sure that
through
we put out her specific information for everybody.
Friday afternoon.
Or I can see about attaching. If I'll check in with her if there's a link that she wants me to post afterwards with the video that we placed here today. So maybe there's something I can just put on if anybody is interested in contacting her. But then, of course, you can get a lot more, some more detailed information on Friday with us, and I'll make sure you have direct connections for that. As far as for myself, volunteers for Dream Share Thursday as well. So anybody wants to join me in for that on the Thursdays, please email me at wolfe.art101@gmail.com. I am as well taking clients again. I did take a break for a while in working on the technical aspects and learning, and then the healing that I've done as well. So, but it's time to fill up my schedule again. So, anybody interested in that, I'd love for you to email me, and we can set something up with that as well. So,
Perfecto. So yeah, Wolf with an E dot art 101 at gmail.com. I actually
yeah,
put it in the chat window for anybody
great.
that's watching. You can
Yeah, and any stories you want to share, if there's anything you want to share, or if there's any help that you need, just reach out, and I'll do my best to. If it's not something I can directly help you with, then I will certainly make sure that I can guide you maybe in the right direction. So I know there's going to be a lot of new people coming in now. I think with you mentioning, you may have popped into the show and think we're all nuts, but the fact is that a lot of people are going to be waking up very quickly
yeah,
now.
and
And
we're all going to
what
be
may
nuts
seem
together.
like common knowledge to us is not to them. So let's all
Normies.
remember
I'm
that,
just kidding.
yeah.
I always laugh at that name. Like, how can you make a name for normal people that's like a derogatory name? Like
Muggles,
normies, you know?
muggles.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a
Debbie and I
funny
laugh
thought.
about that one. Yeah, the muggles. But they're going to start getting awoken in much bigger numbers now. So um, yeah, don't it'd be good to remember, we all have our lingo and everything else, and we have a great understanding, and we don't necessarily need to advise each other, and give each other tips on how to do this and that so much anymore. But let's remember and recognize that we have a lot of new people who are going to be coming into the community. So even though you may hear some simple information repeated and may seem like I've heard that before, let's all have a little bit of patience and remember how many new people are going to be joining us um,
Try to
for
behave
this
ourselves.
information. Yeah, for
See,
that information.
Taylor's shouting out to you. Yeah, you should definitely
Awesome.
email her.
Yeah,
See.
email me. Anybody wants to join? You want to come on and talk about anything? I'll talk about anything. Like literally anything. There's nothing that surprises me. Don't think that you can tell me any story that is gonna. Yeah, you can tell me anything, and it's personal. And I love to be able to give people the affirmations for those stories that they sort of hold back in telling because they think they're going to get a certain reaction, and I know what you mean. So if you need
Definitely.
help with that, you just send me an email. I'll be there.
Shoot an email. I can already hear the emails coming through, it
Yeah,
sounds like.
I hope so. I
Oh,
hope
you're so
so.
popular.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And if
definitely.
just to
Oh,
say, I have taken some time off, and I don't have my Patreon set up now. But if you don't need a session, then I'm going to work on getting their Patreon set up, but if you do feel
There's always PayPal though.
guided to, yeah, guided to help out at all, it would be a great time. I don't typically ask, and I know everything will work out fine, so I'm not stressing. But I had to. I'm like, okay, now you have to you have to focus back on this again.
Oh,
So
definitely.
yeah, so if
Ask and you
anybody
shall
feels so
receive.
inclined, it would be wonderful.
Awesome. Or
But I would just love to
definitely
hear from you either way. Hmm.
email for consultation or anything. Just whatever
Yeah.
you feel led to do. That's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, I'll be
Well,
here.
well, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow when I have Jamie and Lila on. Uh, Kindred Being, I think is the name. Sorry, I don't have my notes in
Nice.
front of me. But BQH practitioners, they're going to share their story of how they stepped out to do their BQH sessions now. And it's, I think, an encouraging story. And they're going to be giving away a free session too. So uh,
That's awesome.
for
That's
the
really
live
great.
viewers. So tune in
Yeah.
live tomorrow, and perhaps you can be the one lucky person. Okay,
That's awesome. I should do. I'm going to think about doing something like that too.
that's
Yes.
awesome.
Awesome. That's great. Awesome.
Lots of
All
love and light
right.
to everybody in the chat and watching later. And thank you so much for coming on, Michelle.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace to my rock steady crew.
All right, bye bye. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.